not try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
There is no spoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all know that scene from The Matrix. It's pop culture shorthand for mind over matter. But the stack of notes and articles we're diving into today makes a much bolder claim.
It really does. And looking at these sources, I mean, they aren't treating this as a metaphor at all. They're arguing for the concept of co-creation.
Right, the idea that human consciousness isn't just observing the world, it is actively building it.
Yes. But here is the twist that makes this specific deep dive so urgent. The sources argue that this creative power has been hijacked.
And that's the part I want to challenge right out of the gate. It sounds like a standard conspiracy theory. You know, they control the world. But if these small groups mentioned in the text are so powerful, why do they need us? Why not just change reality themselves?
That is the key insight here. According to the text, they actually can't. That is their limitation.
Like lacking the battery power.
Precisely. To borrow another Matrix analogy, the sources describe these groups as having control over the system, but they don't have that raw creative essence that humans possess. So they have to manipulate us into using our power to build their version of reality for them.
So it's essentially outsourcing. We are the construction crew building a prison we didn't design.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. And the blueprint they hand us is fear. This is where the mechanics get really interesting. The sources detail a specific toolkit used to keep this co-creation aimed in the wrong direction.
What's in the toolkit?
It relies on three things, mostly. Creating chaos, isolating individuals, and crucially, hiding information.
Let's break those down. Isolation seems pretty straightforward, divide and conquer. But hiding information, how does that literally change reality?
It creates what the sources call a state of incoherence. Think of it like a radio signal. If you have clear information, your intent is strong and clear. You can manifest or co-create effectively.
But if they jam the signal?
Exactly. By hiding information and flooding the zone with chaos and conflicting narratives, they jam it. We become incoherent. We panic. And when we panic, we default to the narrative provided to us.
Which is usually one of fear and limitation. So we aren't just scared, we are effectively rendered useless as independent creators. The text mentioned this ruins the true human essence. What does that actually look like in daily life?
In practice, it looks like reactivity. Instead of acting from your own center, you're just bouncing off the walls of the maze they built. You lose the ability to see the correct and coherent path.
Which is the source's way of saying you lose the ability to see what's actually true versus what's just noise.
Right. You're just putting out fires all day.
Okay, that's the doom and gloom part of the stack. But the sources pivot pretty hard halfway through, presenting actionable steps to resist this. They suggest that once you understand this mechanism, the whole house of cards starts to wobble.
Because the system relies entirely on you not noticing the spoon isn't real. The sources point out that we actually see evidence of this simulation glitching all the time. They mention incoherencies or things we label as conspiracies or even miracles.
Wait, so a miracle in this context is just someone bypassing the firewall?
That's it exactly. It's evidence that the rules of physics or society aren't as rigid as we're told. Spotting those glitches is step one. But the real how-to for personal empowerment is where the text gets surprisingly fundamental.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you to go buy a bunker or start a revolution. It tells you to cultivate internal coherence.
Which brings us back to daily life.
I have to be honest, though. When I read the list of tools for this, true love, respect, and responsibility, it felt a little soft. It sounded like a greeting card. How is respect a weapon against a system of control?
I thought the exact same thing initially, but you have to strip away the sentimental definition. In this context, responsibility isn't about doing your chores. It's about responsibility.
The ability to choose your response.
Yes. The ability to choose your response rather than reacting blindly to a stressful email or a news headline. When you operate out of respect and what the text calls true love, which is really just a high-frequency, coherent state, you literally stop being a match for the chaos.
So it's a frequency thing. If they are broadcasting on the fear channel and you switch your internal radio to responsibility, you disappear from their radar.
In a way, yes. You stop co-creating their chaos. You start co-creating from your own essence. Reclaiming your power to shape your immediate reality simply means you're no longer outsourcing that power to fear.
That reframe actually makes responsibility sound like a superpower rather than a burden. It shifts the narrative from being a victim of the system to being the engine of the system.
And you can switch gears whenever you want. That's the core mission of this deep dive. The system wants you isolated and scared so you'll build their world. But resisting that manipulation is exactly what builds those necessary human traits like love and true responsibility. You become the monk, not the spoon.
It's a lot to process, but it definitely changes how you look at the morning news.
It does, and I want to leave you with a specific question to chew on, right from that spoon analogy.
Let's hear it.
If reality is shaped by where we place our belief, what spoon in your daily life? Whether it's stress about a deadline, a social expectation, or a fear of failure, are you trying so hard to bend when you should really be realizing it doesn't exist?